Hello? Is this thing on? Oh my goodness, I think you guys are double hearing me. Hold on. Okay, that should correct that. Whoops, on my part. It's been a while since I've actually got into streaming, and I want to say last time I did a stream was like a month and a half ago now. Oh my goodness, it's been a hot minute. It's been a hot minute. We're gonna be exploring a little bit of the First Frost DLC, or not DLC, but update that had dropped a couple weeks ago. I'm just also checking to see here why. There's audio. There we go. So, also apparently there's some changes to my playset content because I had a couple mods enabled. I'm not really worried about that game. Thanks for telling me. Okay. So we're gonna dive into a little bit of what was released with the First Frost update. There was a lot of changes. Mostly just changes that, in all honesty, has been well requested far in advance by the actual broader City Skylines community. And then I'm also going to talk later on about my thoughts regarding the Race Day DLC coming to City Skylines 1. So, quite a lot on the agenda. And I wish that, yeah, the game unfortunately is not loading because the mods are breaking the game. Okay, well, I guess I'm just going to have to restart it without mods. That's fine. I wasn't going to be playing with mods anyway today. Play without code mods, yes. So that's going to disable any mods from that point. So let me actually go and get the change log up from Steam. Let's see. So there was a lot of stuff that had dropped for City Skylines 2. They've updated the intro screen so that way it now says Ice Flake instead of Colossal Order. They've also updated a few different elements within the game, which I'm eager to go ahead and get into. I think I did play a little bit of the game back in like, oh goodness, I want to say like back when the update dropped, but I haven't really touched it since. Either way, right now. Yay. And if my game will actually load, we will be able to get into this. Okay, so just going over the quick list here. They've added a new design for the main HUD with more focus on the demand bars. So this actually makes it so that way the demand bars are much clearly easier to see as far as what the demand is for the different zoning types, which I think is a good idea. And I think I did see that when I was playtesting it a couple weeks back when it first dropped, which it only came out like 2 or 3 weeks ago, something like that. Although the game is now frozen, so I'm not too sure why the game is frozen. Come on, City Skylines. Anytime today. Some other things that they updated as well was that they updated the UI icon visuals, so like new icons for the roundabouts, the cul-de-sacs, and then they replaced some of the road service icons, so new 2D icon for the road maintenance depot, and trees and grass icons are with more natural colors. Okay. I kind of like that. I do kind of like that, actually. Let me see here. There we go. Okay. I'm going to need to disable all the... I should have done this before the actual stream, but there's a handful of mods that I play with that I need to go and disable. So I'm going to quickly do that. And we are just going to pop in and... because I'm going to have to restart the game once when these mods are updated. Or once when these mods are disabled. Some of these mods I do actually want to keep enabled though. So we will actually keep them as is. Let's see. Yeah, that mod's unlisted. Yes, disable it. Okay. There's just a handful of them that I'm going to do real quick. I think that was the last one. I think that was it. Okay. That's fine. Did these need any supported mods? No, they do not. Okay, those are just vehicles, so I'm fine with just keeping the vehicles as is. Let me go and restart the game real quick because it was just because some of those mods did not get loaded properly. And we should be able to get into the game lickety-split. Okay, I need to close that. What else was actually updated? So they also replaced some of the info view icons. So new icon for the pollution types and new icons for building levels, land value, household wealth, and company profitability. Interesting. Okay. I think I'm going to have to take a closer look at those because I didn't see what the changes were with those icons. So that is something that I'm going to have to take a look at. And by all means, I could be wrong, but I don't think that there's much of a change on those. Then there's a new icon for the toolbar city demand. Yep. And then new icons for citizen happiness emojis. Okay. Let's find out then. Let's see. They also updated the onboarding tutorial. Kind of makes sense. They also updated the tree age preservation toggle. They've added that in actually. That gives the player the ability to place and preserve specific tree asset visuals. So, if I recall correctly, what that part of the update essentially refers to is that it is where if you go and toggle the tree preservation, whatever that tree age is will stay as that tree's age. It won't age whatsoever. Let's go ahead and... oh boy. I think... you know what? I'm going to take take it one step ahead. Instead of loading up the previous stream city that we had, I'm going to load up one of my offline cities and we'll work on that one, which I think will work out better, to be honest. I've already messed around with the update on that city, so it's already well adjusted to it. Let's see. Something else they added relating to terraforming is more precise and less aggressive elevation tool defaults presets. Okay, I'll need to check that, but that's good to know. And then more specific brush presets and adjustment values. Okay. So real quick, oh boy, I just realized that this is the city that I was working on that I needed to do some adjustments to. So let's go and get into the actual game. here. City Skylines 2. Thank you. Close and capture it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, with that said, there is a few different things here. You can now see that there is a white border around the screen. This is to make it a lot more visually impactful as to showing you as the player whether or not the game is paused, which I think is really good. I think that is really good. So, regarding this city, though, this is one of my Metropolis City saves that I have. This is called my Lake Arbor, which essentially is using the sprawling archipelago map, which I've already done quite a lot with, and I gotta still do a lot more. I want to be able to do a lot more with this map. In fact, build up this island is one of them. But I got a lot of icons that I gotta work on over here. So, one of those icons is in over here where there's a high amount of noise pollution. I'm going to quickly adjust this and find out why. I don't think it's because of the highway, but it could be something else. Let's take a look. Okay. So it's because of their proximity to the industrial area over here. And that actually tracks quite a bit, and that makes a lot of sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this industrial area kind of shuffled around a little bit. I kind of don't want this industrial area over here anymore because it's kind of in an awkward position. Let me take a look at the wind map. The wind map is going off in that direction. So I could go ahead and rebuild our industrial that we have over here and rebuild it off over here because this is actually close to our edge of the map. And I can just buy off a few of these tiles to go and help build up this area. So let's go and do that real quick. So I have a few tiles that I can work on over here. We'll go ahead and do something like this. And I think I might utilize... No, I'm not going to utilize those islands, but we can go ahead and build up a little bit of this area. And I'll just buy part of this valley, just to make it a bit easier. And why not? We'll buy those tiles as well. Okay. So, a few more tiles that I have at my disposal. Our air pollution will go towards this mountain range, which I think is perfectly fine. And yeah, we could actually go and move our industrial, or at least start the transition of moving it over off of the main population-based islands. So keep this in mind. This area right here is kind of like the downtown of my city. And it obviously has a little bit of a pile up regarding health and cremation and other various factors. So we'll get into that. And then there's, of course, some weather demolishing, but we'll skip over that for now. Either way, let's go ahead and get this Madison industrial area moved over because there is a lot to do. So I already got a connector over here, but this is not going to be good enough for us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a sort of a off-ramp connector over here. And we're going to move this connector over here, which right now there's not much traffic, which is good. I'm going to get this moved a little bit down here. So that way it's kind of like curving inward a little bit towards the outside of the city. And I think that putting the industrial area over here is actually going to make things a whole lot better. Because this off-ramp that we'll end up making over here, kind of like where my mouse is right now, is essentially going to act as a good exit path for people leaving the city. And then, of course, we'll have a connection for people coming from our city to the industrial area, because there could be people that need to go over to this area right here. So let me take a look at our topography map. Where is the topography? Water pollution, noise, ground, nope. I want to look at land value, no. Building, no. Okay, this is the part that I'm a little bit tricky about. I don't see that. It might just be where I can only see that in here. Yeah. So that's what I was kind of afraid of. This part of this mountain is kind of heavily cliff faced. So we might end up rebuilding or at least flattening out some of this terrain, or at least building it up a bit. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get another section of land right here, and that should be fine. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up this, and this is kind of like castle ruins. I'm not going to worry about building that right now. We're going to kind of fill this area up. We're going to use some reclaimed land to build this up as a sort of like industrial parkway. And I hope that that's not going to cost us too much. So let's go ahead and just go right around here, closer to about maybe 20 meters. Yeah, 19 should be fine. And then brush size, I'm going to pop that up to 250. And we're just going to go and fill this area up a little bit. And that should be fine. Okay. Let the water settle a little bit, because I feel like, if I'm not mistaken, the water physics are just as bad as in this game as it is in regular City Skylines. I also need to adjust. Oh, that's a outflow pipe. Ooh, okay. I'm going to need to demolish you real quick. So pause the game then. Go underground. And we are going to want to demolish this bit, because we're not going to need it. We will end up rebuilding it, but not at the moment. Okay. Go back over to our terrain. And I kind of want to go ahead and bring this terrain up. Ooh, hold on. There we go. I want to bring this terrain up over to here. There's that. Yeah, that should be okay. Yeah, so what we can also do is we can also go and reclaim a little bit of this area as some land. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some keys over here to go ahead and kind of give it that sort of illusion feel. We'll kind of do the same over here on this side, just to go ahead and kind of give a little bit of a better grasp of our situation that we got going on. I can keep that little mountain bit right there, or hillside, whatever you want to call it. Let's just go ahead and round this off a little bit. Okay. So let's head over to, I think it would be under the transportation tab and under water. Yeah, so medium port, large port. So that is the entries into the port. I want the keys. The keys I think are actually under here. Keys. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So those are the metal ones. Metal pillars. Let's see here. Deep grid pattern, pedestrian path. No, I don't want pedestrian path. Ooh, okay. So do I not have the ability to just make regular? Okay. So I think that it acts as a pedestrian path, so we're going to utilize it as such. So let's go with this. Ooh, that seems a little bit narrow. Let's go with a wide one. And we'll go ahead and okay. Okay. So that's not my intention. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let's go back over to here. Bring down our brush size to like 50. And we want to just ever so much gradually bring it over. And we'll go ahead and... Okay. It's definitely snapping a lot to the side, and it's not actually, like, doing what I want it to do. So let's go ahead. Snap to shoreline. Yes, but no. Let's see. 90-degree snap. Snap to existing geometry and zoning cell length. Okay. Let's go get rid of that. Okay. Because I don't want you to have much of an elevation change when you're going around these bends. Okay. We'll go and do a little bit of a curve bit over here. And we'll go and just bring you along for the ride. Okay. That's a little bit better for the curve. This I need to go ahead and address. So let's go and demolish that real quick. And we can actually like smooth out this terrain. And then let's go back over to keys. Snap to existing geometry. Yeah. Oh, don't want that. Instead, I want something like this. Okay, we can have you go down a little bit, and I think that would work fine. Okay. And what we'll do is I'm going to bring you along the shore here. You're not going to want to go up. Okay. Okay. Let's smooth out this part. And then let's get those keys back in. Snap you to our length. Okay. Now, one of the mods that I would like to have right now, but I kind of don't at the moment because I have mods disabled, is called the Move It mod, where I would really love to go and make it so that way this key is all at the same height. But unfortunately, I don't have that mod right now. So, oh, no. Grab you real quick. And we'll just go ahead and curve you about. This one right here, though, is going to be tricky. I'm going to rebuild this, actually. Okay. Let's go here. I don't want you going down. Kind of try and stay to the height. That's not really what I want, per se. Yeah, it's not really what I want. It might be what I have to deal with, though. Yeah, I'm going to have to deal with that. Okay. Let's go and try and smooth that out a little bit. There we go. Not the greatest, but I think that'll do. I think that'll do. Let's go to the transport screen and let's go and get some ports. Can I get a... So I think that we need to place these port keys. Oh, the port keys are what we needed. Oh, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, so what about if I just remove this? Because I know that's a little bit of hard work already gone. Port key. Okay. This should be well and truly fine. In fact, I'm going to try and do it where, yep, you are at the level that I want you to be at. And then I want you to make your way over here and then come around this curve a little bit. And would really love it if you were to just go right there. But it looks like you're going to be a bit of a prick and not do what I want you to. So let's go up that way. Oh, no. Let's go to 20. And then let's go back over to queues. Or keys, whatever you want to call it. Get rid of snapping to 90 degrees. Oh my goodness. Get rid of that. Okay. A little bit bendy right there at the end, but that'll have to do. Let's go ahead and get some of these ports placed. So we can put down a couple of medium-sized ports, I think. And let's put a medium-sized port there. And we'll put a... you know what? Let's put a small one. A couple small ones over here, actually. Okay. So we can place one right there. And we'll place another right there. Okay. That's going to be a lot of one-way roads right there, but that's fine. Let's place another medium one right here. That's not really a good spot. Okay. Okay. Can I? Yeah. I'm going to try to go and get a key coming across here. Just go, keep it straight. That's all I want you to do. And then, no, I don't want the large one. I need the medium one. Let's put the medium one with a gap of 4 between. Okay, so these actually look kind of what I was expecting them to. So you got pretty much the port entry into this area, and that allows you to go ahead and get those coming on in. So I want to say that... Oh, I think that you need to go and place down... Okay, so the ferry port... No, we don't need that. We got the option for the ferry terminal. I don't really need that. But yeah, I could do that at some point. Also have the harbor right here, but the harbor I don't really need. But actually, let me just see here. If I were to get rid of these two right here, and then I were to place the harbor along here, it's not going to let me because it's overlapping. But if I place you just down here, okay, it's going to say just in water. Okay. That's all I needed to know on that front. Okay. So, if that's the case then, how are these going to work? So, I don't think that there's anything on here. Nope. No, nothing here. Not really anything there. I don't think there's anything in these tabs. So let me just scroll about in some of these tabs just to go ahead and figure out how I can make this work properly. Because I haven't messed around with the keys and all that by any means. So this is practically new information to me. Okay. The main gate to the port area, it features a small office and vehicle inspector areas for incoming and outgoing traffic. The port area can be completed with container cranes, warehouses, container yards, tank farms, and ore storage yards, intermodal train terminals, passenger ship terminals, employee canteen, port security, and emergency response services, and auxiliaries gates. Okay. So does that mean I have to place these? Hold on. Okay. I think I might be misusing these ports. So let's go ahead and demolish all of those. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a medium port right over here. And this is going to be kind of like an end off to this area. So that's going to be like the start of the port area right there. So then I need to go and place down some of these streets. So these streets are going to be what allows people to practically go anywhere in this area. Okay, I think I'm getting it. So I think one thing I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and just do a 2-lane road right off here. So essentially just create this as a port area with the idea that it's going to be an industrial facility, practically. That's going to be the main concept to go and worry about right there. And I guess that the keys, those are just going to be like your on the actual like riverside roads, so to speak, I guess. I'm not 100% certain on that statement, so don't quote me on it. We'll still have similar size buildings and structures, at least from what I can tell. Okay. Okay, and we can do something like that. So this doesn't necessarily work the way I had thought it would, where I thought that the keys would be like your connectors to the actual sort of port, like allowing for terminals and all that. But I guess you have to place these along the actual, like, okay. I think I got an idea. I'm going to demolish these roads a little bit because it kind of involves doing that. And we'll get rid of that building as well. So I think what we'll do We'll start out with a cargo hub. Okay. I'm going to need to place the cargo hub right around here. So let's get a couple of those right there. Okay. And then I want to go ahead and be able to place it like right over here. This is going to be a tight area, but I think that it'll be worth it. So there's that. Now this does come with a possible expansion slot to allow for intermodal transit with the trains. So I think that we can connect it right here and do something with it like that. So let's go and place it right here. Okay. Now, if I recall correctly, there is a rail connection upgrade that you can place right here, and that will allow you to connect it to a rail line. We can do that if we want. I'm going to hold off on it for right now because we might not have enough space. Let's go and get some roads in, though. So I guess here would be a good idea to use those keys. We can use a port road for this. So let's go ahead and use a port road. Coming down the side right here, just a straightaway. I don't need any complicated turns or anything like that. Okay, so that's going to be our kind of like our arterial for our cargo hub down here. I think that we can have a couple of these. Now that I'm thinking about it, we can have one over here and possibly a one over here, maybe with a ferry, a harbor over here. I think that would be fine. I think that would be fine. We could possibly also include ferry stops. So what about if I were to place ferry stops over here? It would be a little bit awkward given the fact that we would have to place some narrow boatways. But I think that could work in our favor. So let's do some more one-ways right here because I think that we can take glorious advantage of these. And we'll go ahead and have you start over there, and I want you to force into that road. Oh, not like that, but like that. There we go. Now we can possibly put a ferry stop over here. Yeah, we can. We can place it like right there. So that's going to allow us to create a ferry line coming from our main island over to our industrial area, which by all means, this industrial area is going to be a lot more than just this area over here. It's going to be a lot more built up. So we can utilize that a little bit. Let's go ahead, get back over to our key roads or our port roads. Let's get a one-way road coming along right here, I think. So 210. Yep. And we can actually go and have you... you see, it's saying like create it as a 90-degree curve right here, which I could do, but I don't want to. Let's take a look and see how that feels. Kind of don't like that. Kind of don't. I kind of don't like that, but I'm going to make it work. I'll make it work for now. Unless we were to actually hold up. I think I just realized something. I need to lower you down. I need to lower you guys down to just, yeah, 2 Cell Road. Because I just realized that those port roads, unless I use the large one, which I'm not using the large one for this one, I think I'm going to use a small one, actually. Okay. I'm going to use a small one over here. That makes the most sense to me. So I'm going to create this right here. Now, I got a little bit of a gap right there. I'm going to bring you down to there real quick. Let's go ahead and take a look. 62.1. Put you right there. And I'm going to flip you around. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the small port entrance right over here. Okay. So that way... Okay. So there's that. Is this actually orientated correctly? I don't know if it is. So I'm pretty certain that that is correct, though. I think that should be fine for now. I am going to go ahead and use our gate roads to kind of help us get connected. Just get a small one right there, and then, yeah, we can do one right here. Unless I were to... Huh, okay. It doesn't really give me the option to... Okay, does it mention anything about the arrow? No, it does not. So that's fine. I'm going to bring you down to there. I'm going to reverse you. So that way I know that that road right there is the only way into it, actually. So let's actually do this instead. We'll go ahead and come out to right here and have this be a slight curve. Yeah. I feel like that would make the curvature of that road a lot more realistic. And then what I can do is I'm going to delete that for just a moment. And let's get a regular road, regular port road. Okay. Now we're going to have you come to here. So 35, 35. Okay. But I need to upgrade that to be a one-way. There we go. Then we'll go ahead and connect you like so. And that works. That does work. So if I click on this building, oh boy, that is a lot actually. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. Okay, that does make a lot more sense. So it has to do with the building itself. So you can have the auxiliary port gates, which you need to have transported shipments from it. Container cranes. Oh, and those give you... Ah, okay. International train modal. Oh my goodness. Yeah, okay, so that makes a lot more sense as to why I was so confused. This is an upgradable sort of area that's all determined. Okay, I have a better idea. I need to get rid of this. I need to get rid of all of this practically. I'm going to keep this area. Keep this part right here. Because what I'm going to do is down here, first and foremost, I'm going to cut this off a little bit. Because I'm going to have this road kind of come into the key. Okay. Are any of these actual key roads? Just that one's the key road. Okay. That's fine. I can work with that. Get rid of that real quick. Okay. That does help me in terms of planning out, to be honest. So this does mean that I need to go and upgrade the road to be 2-lane instead. Okay. Have that be 2-lane, and technically I need to go ahead and have an additional... Oh, boy. Can I Can I have you? Crud. Okay. I think that can work. If I force it to work. I think that should be fine. That's a bit wonky. I don't like that. But I'm gonna make it work. No? You're not liking that? Really? Why are you not liking that? Okay, let's redo this real quick. Because obviously it does need to be a little bit more of a right degree turn instead, or right degree angle. Okay. Also, I just realized that that road is a little bit out of whack. Let's go 35 there. Oh, and I just realized that these roads are technically smaller than the regular roads. Okay. Okay. Having it go right there, that's fine. I'm going to have this come out a little bit. 2, 2, and then connect. That's fine. That actually works perfectly fine for our intended purpose. Okay. I then need our 2-lane road to come along here and connect to our bigger road. Or wait a second. Do I need to go? Do I need to use a lot the port roads? Rather not. But I guess I'll use them. In fact, actually, I just realized. Because I had... let's see here. I can actually redraw that road a little bit here in a minute. Okay. Now, I was mentioning this a little bit. Let's get you connected, shall we? Oh, you're not going to like that because of the water. Okay. Then what about the Port Key Road? Okay, you do like that. I don't like that part, though. I don't. Okay. Get rid of that. Okay. Let's get you to there. Okay, that should be fine. Now I'm going to quickly go take a look at that building because I can get a container crate over here. And yeah, I have to just put it on the key road, and that works. And that's all I need for that key to actually work intended. We can put some tankers over here as well, some small cargo warehouses, which actually that's a pretty good asset to go and utilize because those can help fill up the area quite nicely. What else is there? Oh, and you have direct access to the roads on here, so I don't need to go back into the transportation menu every single time. That I do like. Okay, so let's first off get bulk storage going over here. Get a 2-lane road just going quickly. I'm not too fussed about it. Let's get a couple small bulk storage. We'll put 4 of them in place for right now. And then I want to get a place for a warehouse. A warehouse is, let's see here, 2 units larger than that. So it's 10 units wide. Damn, that's a chunky boy. Okay. Let me just see here. How much more do I need to add to you real quick? So you are at 8. I need to add at least 2. Get rid of that. Okay. So that does complicate things a little bit. Hold on. Let's delete some of these real quick. Hold on. Because I just realized that that's not a good angle for those. Okay. I need to straighten up this road a little, or straighten up this curve a little bit. Okay. Okay, let's get you going right there. 270. And have you come across. Okay. You. I want you to go and have a warehouse there and a warehouse there. Can I put the crane there while there's warehouses? Yes, I can. Okay. So I can put one along here. I just need to let the water fill in. Yeah. Okay. So real quick, I'm going to put... Ooh, okay. I'm going to put one right there and one right there. And that actually works nicely. So that way it actually combines these two as one. Okay. I like that. I do like that a lot. The small cargo containers. Those ones are kind of interesting. What is a small car containers? Container yard where cargo trucks from the city deliver and collect resources. Okay. The warehouse, city. Okay. It doesn't actually give me a description about what's stored there. Okay. Okay. I can work with that, I suppose. Let's just go ahead and I want to flatten up terrain a little bit because terrain is a little bit abysmal right now. Let's increase our height or increase our brush size rather. Okay. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a extension going on this road. And I'm gonna bring it up to about there. Because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get let's see, that's 8 wide, so let's get a one-way road coming along here. Because I'm gonna have this be our sort of like our storage yard. So 1, 2, 3. Place another one right there, and I think I can get 2 more in. Let's see here. I can get that in right there. Okay. I can also extend this a little bit. Okay. I want to bring you down, actually. So let's get you. Okay. You're fine for being right there. I need to go and bring that road down. Okay, I need to extend. Nope. Okay, that's fine. I should be able to bring you down ever so slightly. That's fine. bring you down. And what I'm going to do is in this gap right here, I'm going to put some oil. Well, actually, I can move this. No. I want to put oil tankers right here because the oil tankers are going to be kind of necessary. So yeah, let's put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kind of overcompensating for the area, but I think that'll be fine. And we'll be good there. I kind of want to see what else. We can get a container yard right over here. This is going to be a jam-packed full like area. Let's go ahead and get these container yards like over here. And then what we're going to do, go over to the roads real quick, extend this road. Because these those are going to be 4 wide. I'm going to get this one to be a 1-way as well. And connect you like so. And let's get you going right there and right there. Okay. I'm going to need to leave room for other stuff that's going to get available, like the emergency response, port security, employee canteen, all that sort of stuff. But we need to ship cargo out of this place first. So there's that. I can also actually, now that I think about it, I'm going to get rid of one of these. And I'm going to move the rest to just be right over here. Because I feel like that's going to make it a little bit tidier. Okay. I might end up expanding outward a little bit just to go and utilize a little bit of like some reclaimed land, so to speak. If I get rid of this building, it gets rid of all of these buildings as well. So keep that in mind. Okay. Let's go ahead. You know what? Actually, I'm not done yet. So let's get a couple of these bulk storage over here as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to need to expand out our land a little bit more. And I think you can tell where this is going to go. And I am going to go ahead. And I'm going to come back into here. I'm going to get our road. And let's see, that is a 10 wide. Yeah, 10 wide. So I need to bring you right here. Is that enough space? Yes, indeed it is. Okay. Okay, and let's get our plate right there. And I'm going to just move the main building to just be right here. Oh, and I can't do that. I would have to demolish the entire building in order to just move the port. Okay, that's fine. I'd rather not want to do that, but admittedly, it's kind of like the only thing I can do. Okay, let's just come back into here. I can easily just replace this stuff. Now that it's actually all has a connection, that actually works out quite a lot. Let's see here though. We can do that and that. Okay. Get a container crate. Going like right there. And then one right there. And then let's get 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. And get the same number over here. Yeah, you're able to connect. Don't give me that bull malarkey. Okay. And you know what? I'm gonna get... Okay, I'm gonna reclaim out a little bit more land over here. Okay. I'm only running the game so that way I can actually see the water retracting in real time. Okay. Gate bypass exits. Okay. Let's see. What is this meaning? Traffic can bypass the port area gate when entering and leaving the area, or some port buildings are located outside of the gate. What do you mean by this? I am not too sure what you mean. So I'm going to leave that alone for right now. I'm going to put that building right there because I'm going to extend our key to just match up with you over here. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to soften out our terrain on this side. And then I'm going to rebuild this part. And rebuild this as a key road. Okay. That way I can just go ahead and come about here. Let the water fill in. Okay. That's fine. Okay, now I need to worry about your entry into this port. I do want to get a off-ramp over here. Let me take a look at some of the intersections. I could do a trumpet. I feel like that's going to be a bit small for this area, though. Teardrop, yeah, small once again. A single point. A single point wouldn't be a bad idea. It wouldn't be, actually. It would actually be a pretty good idea. But the slope is too steep, which, granted that area, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. So, I suppose that there is some stuff that we can do then. Let's rebuild this highway a little bit. Okay. Rebuild the highway. Going up to here. Okay. So we're also going to get rid of this power line because that power line is most likely going to be in the way. Okay. I'm going to need to remind myself about that. And let us see here. So if I come over to this height, that's 115 feet. How about we drop that down to just 90 feet? Okay. It does go and cut it off a little bit. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, I don't mind deleting that. I'll end up replacing that at some point. Okay. I think that should be enough space for a single point. Just barely enough, actually. Okay. So we'll have you come along to right there. Okay. Now, one thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to Oh boy. Let's cut this off a little bit. Because we got a little bit of wiggle room. Okay. We do need to drop you down by a considerable amount, actually. I wonder, could I... I'm not too sure, but is there a asset for... so I know that in Cities 1, we had kind of like toll booths, toll roads. I wonder if there is an asset that we can make that, or that we can have inside the game that's similar to that. I don't think we do. Those are all the bus stop. No. Nope. Okay, I don't think we have access to anything like that. I would like to see that, but unfortunately we don't. Okay, let's just go ahead and rebuild this highway because the game is going to yell at us if this highway is not connected. Let's get rid of that for the moment, as we just want you to come out by just a little bit. Okay. Now, you are a 3-lane going across this bridge. That's fine. I'm not worried about that. What I am worried about is, can I get a single piece of infrastructure? Let's go and bring you out to 175. Bring you out to here. No, I want you to... Yeah, that's fine. I think that's going to be the nice enough curve that we can get. Okay. Okay. Don't snap to that. Or that. Need to get rid of that snapping for the moment. Okay. Let's get you snapped to like right there. And reverse you. There we go. That's that part of the bridge sorted. Okay, now for the other part. This one's going to be a lot simpler, I would hope. Then I do need to worry about connecting this and this up together, because that's going to be a problem for the moment. Okay. So what we want to do is I'm going to use the slope terrain tool, and I want you to target height up to here. So let's gradually come across. Okay. Then I'm going to come around and just do a little round of softening the terrain a little bit. Okay. And that should do it. Kind of seems a little bit jank, but we will work with it. But let's go ahead and do this real quick. Snap to existing. Thank you. Okay. Let's let's see here. I kind of want to bring this along. And let's bring you up to 400. Okay, and then this last one will actually be a snap to curve. Oh. I didn't realize that I had dropped it to two lanes across the majority of this. So let's cut you back. And okay. That should be fine. I think that works pretty nicely, actually. Okay. That is a standard enough sort of intersection for us to go and take advantage of. And this highway is going to work pretty nicely with this single point intersection right here. Granted, the single point intersection doesn't have anything to connect to, but that will quickly change since this is at a height of 90 right now. Speaking of heights, let's go and adjust the heights over in this area a little bit. So I'm thinking step it down as to like 60 a little bit. Somewhere around here, maybe? That should be fine. And the reason that I want to step it down to 60 down here is so that way I can use this as a sort of arterial path. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to target that height and just simply connect it up like that with a somewhat steep gradient, but that's fine. What we're going to do is we're going to grab our 4-lane roads, and I'm going to use divided. Potentially. Let's actually go ahead and slope our terrain down to here from about here. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to want to bring this up a slope. 3.3% gradient is actually not that bad for cars. That's actually pretty steep for practically everything else. Okay. Now that is a 6-lane road right there. 6-lane, and I think that's divided, right? Yes, it is. So we can easily just bring this down and have it come into this road right here. Okay. Oh, that wasn't a divided road, so that was just a regular 6-lane. Oh, okay. That works for me. So there's that. What I want to do with this is I want to cut this off with a 2-lane road right here. My reasoning for that is so that way this can merge off over to another harbor in this sort of direction. Okay. And then this part will come along where we will have the entry into this road. So, let's see here. I think right there should be fine. I don't really like that. I'm going to get our 1-lane gate roads. And Well, I guess I can just use the 2-lane gate road for the moment. Or convert it down to a 2-lane gate road. I just realized that I could do that. Yeah, I just realized that. Yeah, that could work a whole lot better. Bring this down to about right there. And then we will want to extend this there. Get rid of the 90-degree turns. Okay. Actually, might want to use the perpendicular tool a little bit. Nope, not that. That. Oh, yeah. Just snap to there. Okay. Get rid of the perpendicular tool for a second. Maybe I could actually use this. Okay. Get rid of perpendicular and there we go. And then I need to come into here and say no left turns. That way it's just straight on into those roads. And then what I can do is, just in case somebody who finds themselves into be an awkward situation where they were not meant to be here, let's put a turnaround road in. I think that'll work. Okay. Now, why are you still saying gate bypasses exits? Gate bypass exists. Traffic can bypass the port area gate when entering and leaving the area or some port buildings are located outside the gate. So, oh wait, okay, I think I see what you're talking about. Let me redo the gate then, because I feel like I know what it's referring to. I bet you it's because the gate needs to be connected over here instead. Okay. Now I just need to go replace my buildings. How lovely. Thanks for that, game. Love replacing my buildings. Okay, and I need to... Okay. There's that. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not worried about that area. Okay. And then I should get some for you. Well, actually, hold on. I need to move you guys around a little bit. Okay. Okay. That's fine. Now I should no longer be having that sort of error message. But I do need to still place down our containers. Container cranes. We'll place one right there. And we'll place another right there. Okay. I think that these are narrow. Really? You guys don't have one that's literally the same size as your own? Seriously? Okay, well, that kind of just defeats the purpose, I guess. Okay. Okay. Bring you to there. Bring you to there. And let's see, bring you along this side. Because just in case. Yeah. Okay, where is actually our cargo port? Do we not have a cargo port? We do not. I have a regular, like, harbor, but not a cargo port. That's perfectly fine with me. So, real quick, we need to finish up this area a little bit. I think this area will just be a regular, like, industrial area for now. But let's go ahead and soften our terrain out a little bit, because having some wonky edges like that is not necessarily ideal. That should be fine. That should be good so far. Okay. There is that. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to take a look at pipelines. Pipelines are all well connected. I don't need to worry about pipelines over here. However, we need to connect our infrastructure, because we don't have any proper pipelines. In fact, yeah, we don't have any electricity over here either. So let's go ahead and first off solve that electrical problem, because we're going to need some form of electricity. Now, under initial thought, I was thinking about placing some wind turbines. And that actually doesn't seem like a half bad idea. The only thing about them is that they don't produce a lot, and you have to place many of them. So I was thinking that because we have such a high amount of electrical usage or electrical power, just placing a transformer over here. And I don't see a problem with that. Which we can just easily have one be underground. Kind of funny because we do have a connection right there. I'm going to have you come down here and I need to go and do some terrain modifications over this yonder. And let's see. That's not too bad. I think that's fine. I think that works perfectly fine. Let's see. So you actually were supposed to be connected over there. Okay. I think that connects our electrical grid to be well established. Now we just need a proper disposal. I am also going to rebuild this intersection over here, but I'm going to wait on that. So let's see here. Sewage disposal. Well, technically sewage and water, but still. I kind of want to do a ground pumping station. And we do actually have an option of it over here, so we can easily do that. And then a water treatment plant would be good idea, but at the same time, I'm like, nah, not really. So I think we'll just have a sewage outflow right over here nearby the port. Okay. I think that works for that area. At least for now. And now this area is going to be operational. Okay. Quite a lot of an upkeep, 661,000 just for this small area right here, which I don't mind, to be honest. It's meant to go and cost a lot for a reason. So let's go and get some shipping lanes created. We have a shipping lane that we can make coming out of here. Okay. Let's also get a shipping lane coming out of our port over here. And I'm going to have it take this back end route just to be safe. And yeah, we're going to have you come along here. Okay. And then we'll have the third route come along this way. Oh, I forgot that we had multiple over here. Okay, that's fine. We'll have you come out this way. Ooh, you're going to want to try and go out that way. I don't want you to go out that way. And you're going to pass through that stupid harbor. Ugh, I don't really like that, but I'm going to make it work. Okay. And then have you come along here. And you do something similar. I do need to replace that harbor because that harbor is going to become a problem. Okay. So the only cargo harbor that's not going to be in use from any of these cranes is this middle one right here. Okay. Which could be a bad thing, could not. I'm not too sure. I'm not entirely sure. But I suppose we just gotta wait for time to give us the go-ahead, because I'm not too sure how that's gonna work out. We got a delivery van, actually, that's coming over here. And you have a lot of cargo, but you're going to the small port. Where inside of the small port area are you going? So this is the first delivery van that's going to be dropping off into the port. Let's see. Oh, we actually have another delivery van, or no, that's just a garbage truck. Never mind. Okay, what part of the port are you going to be going to? Okay, you're passing by these delivery facilities. Are you going to the one on the left here? Yes, you are. Okay. So you're going to just deliver into here. You're going to go into the abyss right over here. Unload. And then you exit out on this side. So that's kind of cool how it enters and exits through the building. And then you enter back onto the road. Okay. I don't mind that. I really don't mind that. Also, I need to reverse this road right here. This road is supposed to go the opposite direction. Oh, I need to use these roads. There we go. Okay. I could speed up time, but literally all we're doing is just waiting for cargo to come over to this. This is eventually going to become a busy area, so we might end up having to upgrade this port to go and supplement that, but I'm not entirely sure how that's going to work. I guess only time will tell. Because who knows? We could, I think that one of the upgrades that we can eventually get is the intermodal train terminal, but we need 50 million goods shipped first. Plus, we can also get some auxiliary port gates, which could be beneficial, but at the moment, not really. Oh, and looks like one of our cargo ships have already departed. But we have one that is just coming on in, bringing in 276 tons of cargo. And that is one sharp turn for you to make right there, my friend. We are on like the fastest speed, so they're going to take their time. Ooh, and looks like you're bringing in cargo too, another 276. So if I just look at our numbers here, oh boy. Wait, was that 276? Yeah, it was. So we are going to fill up relatively quickly. Like literally as soon as this cargo ship drops off, which it did drop off, did it not? Okay, it did drop off. Oh, that's 1,000 tons, not actual tons. Okay, that makes much more sense now that I think about it. Okay. So that helps me mess around with the actual keys and stuff. We still don't... I need to go and get you guys some... Hold on. Let's just go ahead and connect you up to here. Otherwise, you guys will not stop. Frick, hold on. Okay. There we go. You guys are good now. And I just need to drop this pipe to just be a water pipe to this area. Admittedly, I could just have this be a two-way pipe, but Nah, I'm not going to worry about that. Okay. So, with that said, I think that's enough progress for right now, just because that has been a lot to go ahead and do in just this short period. With that said, I think that is going to do us for today. Oh, actually, I did say that I wanted to touch on the race day DLC at the beginning of the stream. So, City Skylines is turning 11 years old next week, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. When City Skylines released, oh my goodness, back on March 15th of 2020 or 2015. That's kind of crazy that it's been 11 years. And to celebrate that, they are bringing in a DLC called Race Day. Race Day comes in sort of two parts, really. You got the part of the race day that is about motor races. So like think like F1, NASCAR, racing like that. And I think that you can also categorize go-karts in those as well. But go-karts are slightly different. And I think what they are essentially trying to do is trying to make it a little bit more interesting to play Cities 1. Even with Cities 2 now having a new developer, they're still trying to make it so that way Cities 1 is as enticing as ever. Putting up events is actually going to be interesting. You got motor races. Let me see here. Da, da, da. Da, da, da. Okay, so you got three different types. You got hypercar, you got formula, and circuit cruisers. So let's see here. Different tiers will affect the costs, but add more competitors to the event. Laps will affect how long the event will last, and the ticket price can also be set. Set a date and schedule the event to add it to the event queue. Okay. Let's see here. It does go ahead and increase attractiveness of the area around it. So it kind of acts like its own given park. So there's that. Or actually, it's a different type of, it's its own sort of category separate from parks. Okay. So in order to build a racetrack, you need to have the race HQ, you need to have the pits. What else do you need? You need to build the actual loop for the track itself and then build the pit lane and connect it to the race road. And the race road actually has a few different variants. Okay. They have a simple demonstration. Okay. And then you can also place grandstands to go ahead and allow for people viewing. Okay. So that's just the first part of the race day DLC. The second part is about the parades and the other type of races. So you get a new event type road where you essentially create a start and end line for the actual race itself or the event. And it essentially acts like a park. People will go ahead and line up here and queue up for the event, and it'll work like that. And then you have an end line park, if I'm not mistaken. So there are a couple different event routes. Let's see. You got parades, obviously. You got marathons. And then you also got, I want to say that it's like one of those parades, running races, and cycling races. So yeah, so like you could, if you really want to, you could make yourself a Circle de France. I believe it's the Circle de France or whatever, or something like that. I'm not entirely sure if that's the correct name or something else. But essentially, you can do that in the actual event itself. Now, they do go ahead and specify that during an event, the roads are closed off for traffic. So essentially, it pretty much forces traffic to go ahead and turn around at that event road. So you need to have a good idea for people to go over that event road or bypass it in some way so that way people can avoid those roads when those events are going on. What else? You need to also make sure that your buildings have access to a road. So there is a new road type that is essentially, let's see here. Uh, what is it called? Services will not be able to reach any buildings along the event route that do not have an alternative access. The event has now concluded. Yep, pack it up, inactive, and then parades. Uh, if there are no events in any of the three phases above, the barriers on those streets are removed, and traffic is normal across the event routes or event roads. Then there is parades. Parades can bring celebration to your prize city, drawing local spectators and tourists along the event route to enjoy the fanfare. There are 5 possible tiers of parades, increasing in grandeur and variety of entertainment, but also expenses will increase on this scale. Okay, okay. Running races. Running races and fun runs can also be held from the start line park. This type of event will have your city's athletes and or fun runners run the distance between your start and finish lines. Then there's cycling races. Competitive or novelty cycling races can showcase a faster race between your citizens. How fast will your citizens pedal? And you can also have it be for motor races on these event roads. So motor races can also be held on event roads. A race HQ is still required, but part of the track can be built or upgraded to event roads, meaning that when a race is not active, normal traffic can use the roads, but be careful when planning a circuit through your city to ensure the buildings along the route will have alternative access for services. Also, keep in mind that the more laps your race event has, the longer traffic will be disrupted, which is completely fair. And this is all coming from, I believe the name of the studio handling this one is Tantalus Media. So Tantalus Media is the studio that has been working on a lot of Age of Empire stuff. So they're actually going to be the ones producing this one. So that's interesting, and I think that they're going to be the ones producing DLCs moving forward for City Skylines 2, City Skylines 1. In fact, I'm going to take a look here because the store page, it still says Colossal Order as the developer, but there's not really any sort of interest or information, so to speak, as to if Colossal Order will continue the support for City Skylines 1. Okay. Well, either way, a lot to come next week. So the 11th birthday obviously is on the way. I'm going to quickly save game here as I now need to go have myself some dinner. I will end it off right there. Thank you all so much for tuning on in, and I will chat with y'all during the next one.